Hello everyone, it's CJ Miller from Through These Four Eyes. I'm standing outside Regent Floral and Mercantile, located on the north side of the Davidson Building in historic downtown Bay City. At one time, the Davidson Building had a slightly different facade. Up until the late 50s, the large, brightly lit marquee which hung above simply displayed the name Regent. It was the entrance to one of the most beautiful and elegant theaters in all of Bay City. The vision of former Bijou Theater manager Fred Williams. The Regent was Fred's way of honoring the city and people whom he loved. He conceived of the idea, and the owners of the Davidson Building prepared it for him at a cost of $750,000. Considered by Fred to be his monument to Bay City, the Regent opened on March 30th, 1918. It sat 1,400 people and showed a mix of movies and live performances. The Regent was closed in 1957 and divided up to create much-needed office space and to expand the stores on the street level. Not much remains of the Regent Theatre, which can be seen by the general public, except for photos and some small pieces. The Davidson Building is currently owned by local developer Rod Hildebrandt, who plans to repurpose it and retain as much of its history as possible. He has collected pieces of the old Regent Theatre and currently has them on display in the third-floor conference room. Rod's property manager, Matt Geiger, was kind enough to show me what was on display. The entrance to the Regent Theatre was currently where Regent Floral and Mercantile is now. Once you walked inside, you would enter the lobby. To tell us a little more about that and what he has found through his research, here is Brandon Strong, owner of Regent Floral and Mercantile.
So Regent Floral and Mercantile is actually in the original lobby for the Regent Theatre. That's actually where I borrowed the name to kind of honor the past. So what people would do is you'd come in off the street, you'd purchase your ticket here, and then you'd come in and you'd take a hard right. So the theater was usually along the back. And if you're ever in the back of the building, you can still see where it was because the roof's very flat, and then at the south end of the building there's a giant cube, and that's where the stage was.
Brandon obtained permission for me to go exploring through the basement of the Davidson Building, where much of what remains of the Regent Theatre is. Brandon, what can we expect to see down there?
So there are some pieces of the theater that still exist today. Most of it's seen in the basement. So you'll see the original dressing rooms, the orchestra pit, the steps leading to the orchestra pit, and a few other randomness.
Before heading into the basement to explore, Brandon told me a little bit about what he knew of the Regent's history.
Yeah, so the short version is Fred was the manager of what was then the Bijou Theater across the street. His boss wanted to send him to another one of their theaters. However, he liked Bay City so much that he decided he wanted to stay. So he convinced the Davidson Company, before they broke ground for the building, to add a theater in it. So I think it's kind of funny that maybe out of a little spite, he just moved across the street. So he convinced them, and they built a theater for 1,400 seats.
Walking down the stairs from Regent Floral and Mercantile, stepping back into history as we enter the basement of the Davidson Building. As you can see, many of the old signs from the old merchants are still up. This is the one that used to be at Regent Floral and Mercantile. And as we go down the hall towards the Regent Theatre, you'll see many old business names. Obviously, this is still used as storage by many of the current occupants. And we'll see more of that coming up. Look at this door. They don't make them like this anymore. Another storage room. Here we are at the entrance to the Regent Theatre's dressing rooms and orchestra pit. Let's go see what we can find. This is what remains of the orchestra pit, just feet below the main stage. Imagine all the music that would have come from here, playing before shows or during intermissions. Before heading back up, let's take a small detour into the boiler room of the Davidson Building. Brandon, it was kind of spooky while I was down there exploring, almost as if someone was watching me. Have you ever experienced any paranormal activity?
Let's see. I have not experienced as much as others have said. I an entrepreneur. I'm here almost all the time, so I have heard voices really late at night. I've heard walking, footsteps down the hallway when I know I'm the only one here. Um, I've had people in the space that have said the chandeliers were swaying back and forth. Um, so I haven't experienced anything yet that made me want to leave.